thank you for logging on and donating to attend this virtual yoga class. This is all levels, or level 1, 2, as we normally do like on a Saturday morning at 9:30. You are at home, however, so first and foremost, listen to your body. Everything I say is just a suggestion, and if something doesn't feel right to you, then go ahead and leave it out. Take an active rest like child's pose or Tadasana pose, standing in best posture. And again, just listen to your body. It's more important now than ever. So let's begin with just a quick centering practice. If you have a blanket, it's kind of nice for a cushion for your knees, and just to roll up for a little cushion for a seat. You can make it sort of about the size of a bolster or a small bolster, like we have in the studio. And just go ahead and find a comfortable seat on the floor, whatever that looks like for you. I'm going to sit cross-legged in Sukhasana, or easy pose. Let the hands rest in the lap, and begin to turn your attention inward. You can simply drop the gaze, or you can close the eyes. Begin to gather up all of your awareness and turn it inside. Start to notice any thoughts, feelings, or sensations as they arise. So just allow yourself a little bit of time here to take stock of your mental and physical state. Try to do this with kindness and compassion and without judgment. And then you can become aware of your breath. Almost as soon as you turn your awareness to the breath, it sort of naturally becomes a little deeper, a little fuller, and we move away from that daily mode of shallow breathing into a more natural state of the breath, which is a full, smooth, even breath. And this is where we want to kind of begin to make our default mode. In order to breathe through the nostrils throughout the whole practice, especially when we begin to add some movement that challenges the physical body, we want to be sure that you soften and open the throat space. So relax the tongue down, feel the back top roof palate of the mouth lift, swallow if you need to, and allow the breath to come in through the nostrils, travel across the forehead, down to the throat center, the heart center, down to the base of the spine, and then as you exhale, it travels back up along the inside of the spine and out of the nostrils. Do this for a few rounds. Notice a natural lift in the chest as the shoulders relax, and an expansion in the ribs outward on the inhale. And then a natural hugging back in of that toward the midline on the exhale. So inhale, lift and expand, and exhale, hug and anchor, kind of ground yourself. 2 more times. Do your best throughout the practice to stay connected to your breath. Use it as your guide. And if you can breathe there, you can be there. Turn the palms outward next to the hips. We'll begin to add simple movements, syncing the movement to the breath. So inhale in, sweep the arms up, let the shoulder blades relax down, and turn the palms away from each other, and exhale, float the arms back down to the sides. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lifting or raising the arms, shoulders relax. Exhale, lower. And then release your right hand down to the mat and inhale, reach the left arm up and over. Just a very gentle side bend. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, hug the right rib cage into the body, still grounding equally in both sits bones. You have an option here to keep the arm in front of the face, to draw the shoulder blade down and just spiral the rib cage open. One more breath. And then inhale up. Exhale, lower the arm. Inhale, sweep the opposite arm up. And exhale, side bend toward that arm, the left side. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, left rib cage hugs into the body to deepen the stretch. Sits bones ground equally. Again, option to bring the arm in front of the face if the shoulder feels tight, and especially if there's any pain in the joint. And one more breath. And then inhale, rise up. Exhale, slowly sweep the arm down. Relax the fingers at the sides. And take some shoulder rolls up, back, and down. Up, back, and down. One more time. Very good. Inhale, sweep the arms up, cactus arms this time. Elbows are shoulder height, and turn the palms to face the ears. Spread your fingers wide. Ground in the sits bones. Inhale, lengthen in the left and right side bodies. And then exhale, from the rib cage, rotate over your right knee. And then lower one hand behind you and the front hand to the opposite knee. Keep the back of the neck soft, the gaze at the horizon. And each inhale you lengthen, and each exhale you deepen. Let the left hip come in front of the right hip. Allow the gaze to go over that back right shoulder until you come into a final complete twist. Hold for a breath in your expression of the twist. And then you're going to inhale back around to center and exhale. Inhale, bring the arms to cactus again, palms facing the ears. And exhale, rotate at the rib cage. So from here, just rotate the rib cage over that left knee and release the hands down, one in front, one behind. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, right hip in front of the left, just a little bit. So let the hips kind of rotate around first. And finally, the gaze comes over that left shoulder, using the breath, one breath at a time, to find your deepest expression of the pose. And take a full breath once you've reached it. And then inhale, face back around to center. Bring the hands to the heart in prayer. Take an inhale right here. And then exhale, press the hands out in front of you. Look down between the arms. Press the shoulder blades apart. Just gently round the spine. On your next inhale, open the arms like you're spreading your wings and look up. And take a little back bend. And then exhale, bring the hands back together, rounding the spine. And then inhale, sit up nice and tall, hands to the heart again in prayer. We'll do that 2 more times, that sequence. So inhale here. And exhale, hands in front, round, look down. Inhale, spread your wings and look up. Exhale, hands together, look down and round. Inhale, back to center, sitting tall, hands at heart. Exhale, hands out in front and round and look down. Inhale, open, spreading your wings, look up. And then exhale, hands together and round. Inhale, back to starting point, hands at the heart, sit up tall. Release the hands at the sides, and then we'll come forward to hands and knees. So turn and face the front of your mat. So it's going to be the short edge of your mat that's facing me so you can see. Come to hands and knees. You want your wrists under your shoulders and your knees under your hips. So this is where your blanket might come in handy. You can put under the knees for cushion if you need. And we're going to just curl the toes under and just sit back and kind of gently stretch in the feet a little bit. And you can walk the hands back, deepening the stretch a little bit, bringing more weight. You also need to be mindful if the knees cannot flex this deeply, then you may have to just stop where you are able to bend into the knees and just stretch through the feet by reaching the heels back and pressing into the toes a little bit more. Take a couple more breaths here. Good, and then come back forward, wrists over Good. Shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees, and make some hip circles first to the right or clockwise. And you can kind of start small and then getting a little bit bigger gradually with each rotation. And back to center and switch sides to the left or counterclockwise. Good, coming back to center. Go ahead and float your left leg back behind you. Ball of the foot stays down on the ground. Hips are level side by side. Just start by stretching through the back of the left leg gently. Ground through the hands, so all 10 finger pads, all the knuckles, the outer edges of the palms. Push into them and feel as though just the center of the palms are lifting away from the floor. This will take pressure out of the wrists. Good, and if you want to challenge your stability, you can float the back leg. Just hip height though, and keep the toes pointing down. Really ground through the left hand and the right knee diagonally away from each other, and if you want to challenge your stability more, extend your right arm overhead, thumbs up, fingers spread wide. Draw the shoulder down the back on that side. Take 2 breaths here. Inhale, expanding. Exhale, grounding. Come back to hands and knees. Take a breath in tabletop. And then switch sides, extend the right leg back. Keep the ball of the foot down, stretching in the back of the calf. Grounding through the hands fully. Shoulders out of the ears. Challenge your stability if you want and float that back leg hip height, toes pointing down. Spiraling the inner right thigh up toward the ceiling. Grounding through the right and left hands, and extend the left arm now overhead, fingers wide, thumb up. Relax the shoulders. Take 2 breaths. Inhale, expanding. Exhale, anchoring or hugging into the midline of the body. And then come back to hands and knees. Let's take 3 rotations clockwise with the hips. And 3 to the counterclockwise or left with the hips. Good. Step your right foot forward between the hands. Keep the back knee down. Hands to the floor. So you might be able to get your hands planted flat to the floor, or you might be like me and have to come up onto the fingertips. This just kind of has to do some with proportions, some with flexibility, but do your best either way. Pull the heart forward, flatten at the back of the heart, and deepen the stretch. Keep the back of the neck long and in line with the spine. Take a breath here. Good, and if you want to deepen the stretch and challenge your stability and strength, curl the back toes under and just briefly lift that back knee. Inhale to lift it, exhale to lower. Inhale, lift, reach back with the back heel, exhale, lower. 3rd time, inhale, lift, reach back, hold for a breath. Lift and spread the toes on the front foot, just gently. And then lower the back knee, step back. We'll switch sides. Step the left foot forward. Keep the back knee down. Good, same thing here. Long spine, relaxed neck, in line with the spine. Deepen the stretch by kind of gently pressing the pelvis forward, or just really relaxing forward. Take a couple breaths here, shoulders out of the ears. Remember, if you can breathe there, you can be there. And if you want to challenge yourself a little bit, inhale, lift the back knee. Exhale, lower. 2 more times, inhale to lift. Exhale, lower. That 3rd time you inhale, lift, you can hold. Take 1 to 2 breaths here. And when you're ready, lower the back knee, step back. Take your knees wide and your big toes together and sit back into child's pose. Lower the forehead to the mat. So some of you, again, may not be able to have this deep knee flexion for one reason or another.
And the variation you'll take for child's pose is melting heart, sometimes called puppy pose. And so you keep your hips right over your knees, and you'll walk your hands forward and lower to your forearms, and then lower your forehead. Those of you who can do it are welcome to try this variation as well. It just changes the experience of where you feel it more in the body. So everybody, wherever you are, take 3 more breaths. Gently lift the forehead from the floor about an inch. Either slide the hands back next to the shoulders or baby step them back, the hands back to the knees one at a time. Everybody meet back in hands and knees. And here, we'll curl the toes under and we'll press the hips back and up just for a 2-breath hold in downward facing dog, and maybe wiggle the feet a little bit. So 1 breath, then your 2nd breath, just briefly, full body stretch across the back body. Lower down, back to hands and knees. Sit back in a child's pose or melting heart. Take 2 breaths. Inhale, rise up. Hands and knees again. So this time, let's go back to placing our left leg extends back, follow the foot down once again. Like we were moving toward bird dog earlier. This time I want you to let that left heel come down toward the midline. So you're going to open your hip this time. And this right foot maybe kickstand it underneath you a little bit for extra support. Make sure the right wrist and the right knee are in line with each other. And then come up just to balance in the right arm. So start to bring most of the weight over then to the right hand. Let this left arm kind of dangle and float here. And then I want you to pull it up like you're pulling back on a bowstring, bending into the elbow, opening the arms, stacking the shoulders. You can keep looking down or just straight in front of you, and then extend this top arm. So we're coming into a modified side plank. Be sure you're lifting up in the bottom rib cage and lengthening in both rib cage sides so that there's minimal pressure and weight in the wrist. Good. If you need more of a challenge, you can float this top leg, draw the toes toward the knee, coming into quarter moon. Take a breath. And you can see I'm a little bit shaky with my balance. Lower the back foot down. If it isn't floating, lower the top hand, level the hips, back to hands and knees. Take some hip circles clockwise, 3 times. Good, you guys stay where you are. I'm gonna flip because I wanna still be able to have you face the camera when we do the other side. So again, float the right leg back this time, follow the foot starts down, and let the heel come in toward the floor to the midline. Kickstand the left foot. You can kind of kickstand it, place it behind you a little bit. Let this right arm float and dangle, and then like you're pulling up on a bowstring, raise that elbow up, stack the shoulders and arms in one line, spread the fingers wide. If you want to challenge your balance a little bit more, you can float this back leg, keep the toes drawing toward the knee, lift the bottom rib cage, lengthen in both sides. Take 2 more breaths here. Let the back leg come down first. Let the top arm come down. Back to hands and knees. And 3 hip circles counterclockwise now. Good. I'm going to flip back around here. And then come onto your belly, lying flat. Extend the arms overhead. Come up onto your fingernails. So like your hands look like this. Like you're holding your hands over a cupcake that has a really pretty decoration on it and you don't want to mess it up. So it really is up on your fingernails the whole time. Both hands. And then draw your shoulders down your back. Bring the chin toward the chest. Press into the big toenails behind you gently, keeping the knees down. And then push into the fingernails on an inhale and lift yourself up. Arms, chest away from the floor. And just hold here for 4 breaths. Allow the top of the sacrum at the lower back here to nod into the lower spine too. And notice how that kind of increases the compression you feel in the lower spine. But you shouldn't feel any pain. Good. And then slowly lower yourself down. Take your arms out to a T. Take a cheek to the floor. Rest and just let your upper back round forward. Sigh it out if you need to every once in a while. You just need to part the lips. One more time, let's do one of those cupcake hands overhead. Chin to the chest, slide the shoulders down the back. On an inhale, lift, pushing through the fingers, slide the shoulders down. Let the top of the sacrum nod to the lower spine gently. Grounding in the toenails. Nice, smooth, steady breaths. So do your best to expand and make space for the breath. And then hug and really empty all the exhale. So they're long, steady, and smooth breaths. Good, and from here, slide your hands back next to your shoulders. Press gently into the hands. Draw the elbows towards the heels and lift up. Look out, just out in front of your mat at the floor, coming into cobra pose, and take 3 breaths. Let the top of the sacrum again nod toward the lower spine and try to relax any pinching action around the glutes, and instead feel the glutes and the hamstrings lengthen as you ground the big toenails. Good. On an exhale, lower. Take the opposite cheek to the mat. Take the arms to a T and rest. Bring the hands in next to the shoulders. Gaze is down. On an inhale, press up to hands and knees. And on an exhale, take downward facing dog. Press the hips back and up. Good, we're gonna be here this time for 5 breaths. So pedal the feet still if you want to, one at a time. But really, again, press through the whole hands except the center of the palm is lifting. Shoulders glide up the back. Soft through the knees. Even a generous bend if you need to let the seat kind of reach up and back, allowing the lower spine to also be lengthening. One more breath. You're doing great. Take your feet mat width apart. Bend your knees. Inhale, baby step the hands back to the feet. Exhale, hands to the thighs, above the knees, and press up to standing. Very good. So, you're going to come to the front of your mat at the short edge where you can see me and stand into Tadasana. So you can remain there. I'm going to turn and face the camera. Find the 4 corners of your feet. I like to kind of rock forward and then back, making sure my weight gets distributed equally over my feet. The 4 corners, if you don't know, are big toe pad, little toe pad, inner heel and outer heel. You want to keep grounding those down as you gently begin to just lift the toes and then kind of actively try to spread them. Soft through the knees so that as you press down, you kind of feel the feet go down and laterally press out to the long edges of your mat and feel your knees track naturally over the center of the feet. Then you can feel all your leg muscles gently engage. Lift in the heart space, relax the shoulders, let the head float. So just like a mountain, we have a firmly planted, strong base, and then our peak is just kind of ethereal up there in the clouds, light and airy. Take a deep breath. Take another deep breath. Try to steady and smooth the breath. Notice if you have a burst of air in the beginning and then it kind of peters out. And try to smooth that out so that the inhale and exhale, just like they're equal to each other, try to make the beginning and the end of each breath equal. Start to bring your weight over into your left foot. Bring your hands to your heart in prayer and come up onto the right big toes. Find something in your space to focus on at either horizon level or down across the room at just a gently gaze dropped level. And then inhale and float your knee up to hip height. Flex the foot. Lift and spread the toes on the standing foot. Lift and spread the toes on the floating foot. Good. Bring your right hand to your right hip. Bring your left hand to your left knee toward the outside. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, rotate from the rib cage. Keep the knee right in line with the hip. Change your gaze. Now we're really going to challenge our stability. And then again, if you want, you can reach this back arm back. Reaching behind you. So I'll stand to the side so you can see me better. Reaching behind you. Good. And then come slowly back. Don't rush out. You don't want to fall out. Hands to prayer. And lower the right foot. Stand in Tadasana. Take 3 breaths. Smooth and steady. One more breath. Bring your weight over into your right foot. Bring your hands to prayer at the heart center. Come up onto the left big toenail. Good. Lift and spread the toes on that standing foot. Notice if you're kind of collapsing into any of the joints, and work a little harder up above, just like below, to lift up out of that right side, out of the joint spaces, alleviating some of that compression. And then float your knee hip height, toes flexed and active in both feet. So here I will stand again this direction so you can see. Take your left hand to your left hip. Take your right hand to the outside of that knee, helping to stabilize it right in front. And inhale, lengthen, and exhale from the rib cage. Rotate. And then when you can't go anymore, just that natural in feel, you can challenge yourself by just reaching your arm back, keeping it in line with the shoulder. Take a couple of breaths here. Focus your mind on the breath. Bring the left hand back to the hip. Turn back to center. Hands to prayer now. Lower the left foot. Stand in Tadasana. Take 3 full, smooth, steady breaths. Grounding in the feet, soft in the knees. Heart is lifting, shoulders and neck relaxed. One more breath. Good, so I'll turn and face again so you can see. We'll go ahead, maybe I will say to this side, kind of angled here. That might be better. So we'll bring our weight back again to our left foot and come up onto your right big toenail, knee bent out in front. And cross your right knee on top of your left. So this, if you can hug your inside of your right foot to the bottom calf. So you're out here, you can hug it. If you can bend the left knee a little bit more and tuck the top of that right foot behind the left calf. Take the arms out to T. Cross them in front of you, left elbow on top of right, and either take this little stretch here with the shoulder. You can bend the elbows, give yourself a hug. Or if you want, you can bring the forearms toward each other, then wrap the wrists and bring the palms together Rest the base of the right thumb at the center of the forehead. Gazes slightly to the left. Again, lifting and spreading the toes. Ooh. If you fall out, just tap your top foot down like I did. One more breath. Slowly unwind the arms. Relax them at the sides. Slowly unwind the legs. Take a breath in mountain pose. Take another breath. And then bring your weight over into the right foot. Come up on the left big toenail. Cross your knee on top of the other knee like you're crossing your legs. And either hug that top foot over to the standing leg, or you can tuck the foot behind. I can't tuck this one as much as the other side, so you will find as well that one side is different than the other. Take the arms out to a T, bending in that right knee a little bit. Crossing the arms in front of you, this time right elbow on top. So we have this stretch as an option. We have hug, grabbing the backs of the shoulders. And we have the full Eagle Garudasana bind. Right base of the thumb now to the forehead. Wait, left. That's the left one. Gaze slightly to the right of the hands. There we go. Lift and spread the toes. I'm getting a little dyspraxic here in my bind. One more breath. Use the breath to expand and ground. And then slowly unwind the arms first. Slowly unwind the legs. We want to come out with stability and smooth this and back to Tadasana. Good. Bring the fingertips to the shoulders and just make some gentle circles. And then do the other direction. Just gentle circles. Gentle circles. Now standing just at Tadasana legs, lifting and spreading the toes, feet parallel to the long edges of your mat. Take your right arm and just slide it, back of the hand, along, and back of the forearm, along the waist behind you. So I'll turn around so you can see what that looks like. And then take this right arm up and bend into the elbow and place it at the back of the neck at the base of the neck. So if you want now, you can bend into the left elbow more and move the back of the bottom hand up along the spine, the center of the back. And it's like you're going to try to walk your hands toward each other. That is as close as mine get. But some of you will be able to clasp the fingers like this behind you if you can naturally do that. But don't feel the need to force. You can just stay in the original position if you're very tight in the shoulders like I am. From all the massage that I do, you can press the the elbows and the shoulders back. Just kind of draw them back in that original position and relax the shoulders down. And notice if your neck is pushing forward, and we want to make sure that it stays in line with the spine. We're just going to hold and breathe. This is a pretty deep shoulder stretch for most of us. That in the general population, we work at desks, we might drive all day, we might be at a computer all day, looking at our phones all day, so we're just trying to create some balance here. We're not trying to contort ourselves into any positioning that we really aren't physically capable of doing. And then we're just trying to breathe and focus on the breath. It's that simple. We can all breathe, and then we can all do our best to focus on the breath, to allow any sensations and thoughts that arise to just be there, regardless of where we can put our arms and our body in space, right? So just slowly reach the top arm, the right arm up, let it come down, release the bottom arm. Let the arms just hang, but keep that best posture, Tadasana stance. Feel the tension drain down the arms. Just be willing to let it go. And then we'll switch sides. Right arm behind the back of the hand, toward the backs of the palms facing the wall behind you. And then inhale, left arm sweeps up. Exhale, bend into the elbow. Place the hand starting at the base of the neck behind you. Again, you can start to work the hands toward each other at the back of the heart space and clasp them, or you can stay here, ground through the feet, nice Tadasana stance. Gently draw and press the elbows and shoulders back, relaxing them. Neck is smooth, soft, relaxed, and in line with the spine. Head is floating. Do your best to just focus on the breath. As tensions and sensations arise, you can imagine the inhale gently expanding beyond them. And then as you exhale, you just release them as many times as you have to. And then inhale, straighten that top arm, the left one. Exhale, let it float down. Release the bottom arm at the side too. Let the arms hang. You can wiggle the fingers if you feel like kind of wiggle around a little bit. Let that tension go. Be willing to just let it go. Take a breath into Tadasana. Good, turning, you're facing the front of your mat. I'm gonna turn and face the front edge of my mat again. Grab a block if you need. Excuse me. Or a blanket if you need, I'm sorry, to cushion your knees. And come down to hands and knees. Good. And just make those hip circles again. First clockwise or to the right. Noticing any changes from the beginning of our practice when we did this, and then counterclockwise or to the left. Good, turn, or grab your blanket. I would fold it up, so the yoga blankets usually start kind of in our studio in a rectangle, but for this, I like to fold mine one more time again, so it's more like closer to a thickness of the bolster. So if you have a thick blanket that you can double over a few times, just to lift your seat. Have a seat on the blanket, and then take your left leg out in front of you straight. Plant the right foot on the inside of the leg. Next to the knee, it doesn't have to be terribly close into the body, just comfortably. So if you just kind of pick it up just where it wants to comfortably land. And then we're going to place our left hand on the right knee. So you're kind of reaching across the body here a little bit. I want you to inhale and sweep the right arm up. And then exhale, rotate from the rib cage or around the bra line toward that knee. Use this hand just to keep this knee pointing up. You don't need to pull it past the hips, so keep it in line with the body. It doesn't need to pull across the body. So inhale, lengthen, and then exhale, lower this back hand behind you. Just an easy seated twist here. Once again, each inhale we lengthen, each exhale we let the right hip come back, the left hip come forward a little bit, and we deepen the twist. And we inhale, we lengthen again, and maybe as we exhale this time, we take our gaze back over the back shoulder. Muscles in the back of the neck are relaxed. I'm going to turn to the side here so you can see me a little bit better. And I'm twisting back this way. Again, I let this hip come forward a little bit, and I just kind of take a nice even rotation in the spine so that my spine is like a spiral staircase. Just enjoy that twist. Doesn't need to feel forceful, just firm, steady, and pleasant, equal parts. Come back around to center, and we'll switch sides. So straighten the right leg, pick up behind the left knee, just kind of pick it up and plant the foot where it naturally wants to land. Take your right hand to your left knee, inhale, left arm sweeps up,
Exhale from the bra line, rotate the ribs toward that knee. Use the right hand to keep the knee pointing up. And exhale, float the back arm down, the left arm down behind you, just for support. This is kind of here just to help you keep sitting up nice and tall. The taller and longer your spine is, the more accessible the rotation will be. We inhale, we lengthen. We exhale, we rotate. Left hip draws back now, right one comes forward a little bit. Now your sits bones are kind of like this on the floor. You don't have to stick them side by side. And maybe that final deepening is the gaze. As long as the muscles in the back of the neck are relaxed. And again, you're kind of lengthening through the crown of the head. It will rotate around with a little bit more ease. And then you just breathe. You take nice full breaths there to gauge. Can I be here? Is this my expression of this pose? My breath can tell me that. And so much more, but I can definitely tell you that. One more breath. Inhale back around to center. Take your legs out in front. Hands next to the hips. Again, they're really there for support to help press you up. My arms are a little bit longer and they're up on this blanket. So if you can't relax the shoulders down, make sure you bend into the elbows so that you're able to relax the shoulders down. Toes are pointing up. Sit up tall in best posture. So weight is in the sits bones only and out of the tailbone. The tailbone is just kind of hovering there above the floor in between the sits bones. And take 2 more breaths here. Good. Sweep your feet. Turn again. So you're here. Sweep, bend into your knees, and sweep your feet to the right. So some of you will be able to stack your top foot into the arch of the bottom foot, but when I do that, it kind of throws me off. So it's more like my shin is there in the top of that bottom foot. And then I'm going to scoot this little blanket I have over, and I'm just going to lift the left hip. I'm going to put it right under my left sit bone. And then I'm going to inhale and lengthen in the side bodies, and exhale from the rib cage, rotate over to the left. Back hand behind me, front hand on the knee. Nice, easy Bharadvajasana. Nice, simple twist, just relaxing. And this time, maybe just keep the chin over the heart space. And just kind of enjoy this posture, kind of more focusing the rotation in the hips and what's going on in the lower half of the spine and the pelvis. Inhale, come back to center. Sweep the legs out in front of you, and we'll switch sides. So I'm going to move this blanket over a little bit, and I'm going to sweep my legs to the left. Again, just finding a natural resting place. Then I'll prop my right hip. So I'm going to place this little lift under the right sit bone. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale from the rib cage, rotate to the right. Take one hand behind for support, or kind of diagonally off that right hip, and one to the front knee. And just do your best to kind of relax this left hip crease down. Stay long in the spine. Keep the gaze over the heart space. Focus on the breath. Notice what you're feeling and experiencing through the lower half of the spine and into the pelvic bowl, into the hips, around the SI joint, which is around the sacrum. One more breath. Come back around to center. Adjust your little prop underneath those sit bones. Now bring the legs out in front. Dandasana or staff pose again. Hands next to the hips. Shoulders relaxed. Chest lifts. Soft through the knees. 2 breaths sitting here in best posture. Inhale to expand and lengthen. And exhale to ground.
want you to lay back on your mat now. I'm going to move my blanket to the side. Scoot your hips forward so that you can lay back. Move my hair. Good. Plant both feet. I'm going to kick my knees bent, and then pull your right knee to your chest. Hold wherever it's comfortable. Shin, back of the thigh. You can even point the knee to the outside of the body for a deeper hip flexion. And if you want to deepen the experience, you can also straighten the left leg along the mat, as long as there's no pain in the lower back when you do that. Just take a few breaths here, really slowing down our pace and our practice now, winding down. And then plant the right foot to the floor, bend into the left knee, plant the foot if it's straight. Pull the left knee into the chest. Hold where it's comfortable. Experiment with pointing the knee to the outside of the body and see which variation you prefer. Straighten your right leg along the mat. Keep the feet active on both legs. Nice, full, smooth, steady breaths. It's real easy here when we start to get really, really simple in our practice. The mind can tend to wander for some of us who find ourselves bored with a slower pace, simpler kind of practices and poses. So become aware of that. And if you've already kind of left and you're off to your to-do list and whatever you've got to do your best to tug your attention back to the breath. There's plenty of interesting things in the body going on to keep your attention if you're willing to pay attention. And then plant the left foot. Straighten that leg along next to the right one. Very slowly with the breath. Inhale, full body stretch. Exhale, sigh it out. If you want to do that one more time, you can. Maybe even interlace the fingers, press the palms ahead, overhead, and inhale, stretch. And exhale, relax. Plant one foot at a time. Take your knees up over your hips. Roll to your left side. Roll completely to your left side. Good. Then roll, begin to reach this arm back, but let this top hip come back. So the knees will be staggered. You don't need to keep them perfectly stacked. And you can just reach this right arm back behind you. If the arm's way up high, if you're really tight, and it's way up here, I don't want you to force and try to pin the shoulder down. Instead, just try planting the hand on the top hip and let the elbow and the shoulder just relax. You still get a nice twist. And then some of you will want to straighten the bottom leg along the mat and straighten the top leg out, hip height in front of you. But again, you don't need to force any part of the body toward the floor behind you. You want to take a nice, gentle, safe twist. One more breath. Bring your top hand forward. Bend your knees again. Knees right in front in line with the hips out in front of you. Roll to your back. You can plant your feet and roll to your back. Shift yourself back onto your mat. Bring the knees up. Roll completely to your right side. Roll, begin to rock back behind you. Let the top hip, top knee come back. Reach the top arm forward, or the back arm, sorry, the left arm back behind you. Change the positions of the legs, one along the mat, the bottom one along the mat, one out in front on the top. Being conscious and aware of what your body and your breath are telling you. And Enjoy the twist. Enjoy the stillness. Enjoy the idea of only needing to be in this one moment right here. Bring the back arm forward. Roll again to the right side. Bend into both knees out in front of you at hip height. Feet to the ground. Roll to your back. Shift yourself back onto your mat. Gently draw both knees toward the chest. Now, make some hip circles. One direction, rock or just rock side to side, and switch directions if you're circling. A few times and switch again. Whatever feels good. If it feels like you need more massaging on one side of the SI joint in the lower spine, then you can kind of massage, self-massage along the floor if you want to. And then we'll come to our final pose, Shavasana. Relaxation or corpse pose. Legs straight and arms relaxed at the sides. You might place a blanket underneath that rolled up blanket underneath the knees. Just alleviates any tension in the lower spine if you're experiencing that. I want you to stay in Shavasana. I'm going to sit up and cue you through relaxation. If you want, you can lower the lights wherever you are, or if you have a hand towel, like this one, you could just cover it over the eyes to put yourself in darkness and remove some of the stimulation in your surroundings. I'm going to sit and hold the space and keep track of the time for you. I'll ring the bell when we're done. So settle into your Shavasana. Please resist the urge, since you're at home, to rush off and skip this pose. Since I can't see you and I can't keep you there. Sometimes we'll do that. I know I've done it before, admittedly, so please take this final pose and time for yourself. So this is where in yoga, one of the main concepts is that there are cycles of death and rebirth going on all the time, and this is that death cycle that's really important in order for us to shed the things that we don't need, and to keep what's there and take stock of what's there. And we do this by lying very still. This is not something we do with mental constructs or of the mind, but it's something that we allow a deeper wisdom within ourselves and our body to sort through for us. The yogis believe that the body is an infinite storehouse of wisdom, and that we have everything that we need inside. And so we really allow ourselves this time to rest, allow that mechanism within us to be strengthened and to connect to it. So hopefully, when we're going through very real death and rebirth cycles in our waking life, we might do so with a little bit more grace and ease. So allow the back body to be heavy. Feel the softness in the front body. Relax the jaw, the cheekbones. Let the lips and the teeth slightly part and the tongue soften back. Soften the inner corners of the eyes and feel the forehead become smooth, free of worry. Feel the pull of gravity on the scalp and the ears. Imagine your face completely smooth now, like the face of a baby.
notice the sense of flowing peace that is arising and falling there with the breath or prana. The breath becomes so still here that we can tap into its energetic force quality or prana, the life force. And it feels more like a receiving nourishment and a letting go of tension. And it isn't because of anything that we have to do with the mind. We're simply watching that take place, observing, feeling, connecting. There's no rush, and you just very gently continue to keep track of this flowing peace. Consider the idea or the notion that this is your natural state. And allow yourself to be carried deeper and deeper into the heart space and rest. plant your feet. Use your right arm to support your head and your neck and roll to your right side. Take 2 breaths here. And on your second inhale or exhale, press yourself up to a comfortable seat. If you'd like, you can join me by bringing your hands to your heart in prayer position, bow your head, return your internal gaze to your heart space, and cultivate a feeling of gratitude for the many blessings in our lives. I'll end the class with the simple blessing of peace. May all beings know peace. May all beings everywhere be healed. And may all beings know the beauty of their own true nature. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you so much again for joining us. We can't wait to see you back in the studio when we are able to do that. And in the meantime, have a beautiful rest of your evening or day, wherever you are.